So, well, let's see, Lucy, I think we could probably go ahead and this is really meant to be a question and answer session. So what we would like to ask everyone to do is put their mics on mute unless you're speaking. That way we will minimize the background noise. We have a couple things prepared, but really we want to really answer questions that you all have, and we will be recording this. So remember, any question's a good question. We've got really a nice turnout between some of our IPNA members from South America, from Africa, Asia, Europe, and the North America. So what Elena Levchenko and I, as co-chairs of the teaching courses committee, have recognized is this is a very complicated time for teaching courses. And we have, as you can imagine, very little teaching course activity during the pandemic. We have pivoted to try to support a few virtual teaching courses, but with everyone's stress of the pandemic and how that's affected all of us, there's not been a lot of activity in that regard either. We do recognize that as we go forward, we're going to have to consider whether virtual teaching courses, hybrid teaching courses, live teaching courses are all worthy of our support, and how we can best do that. Just a few things that we want to remind everybody. So pre-pandemic, in 2019, IPNA helped sponsor 31 teaching courses, about half of those occurring in Asia, almost 20% in South America, and 16% in Africa. And IPNA spent a little bit of money on this, like to the tune of over $160,000, which really comes from our IPNA income from our members and from the journal. And we did serve over 4,000 participants, including not only pediatric nephrologists, but pediatricians, adult nephrologists, as well as trainees and nurses and other healthcare professionals. So we're really keen to continue this work. We want to show you a little bit about the process, but also really talk to you all about how we can help continue this effort as we move into 2021. So just to help everyone appreciate the process, there is a teaching course application form on our website. We are taking applications for support of virtual meetings now. We have 3 application rounds, so that we're trying to be able to look at groups of applications rather than looking at each application individually. And if you have any questions about filling out the form, details about the form, Lucy is keen to help, and she will certainly involve Elena or me in that process. Our whole goal is to fund high quality courses and increase our impact in terms of helping educate professionals about kids and their kidney disorders. So our goal is to give the money away, but to give it to really invest it in worthwhile activities. So in addition, recognizing the need for more virtual options, we are committed to helping organizers walk through their virtual platform issues. So in some cases, that may mean us helping you find the right virtual platform for your area. We have the potential to utilize the IPNA platform, but at least as we have kind of looked at the first couple experiences, there certainly are some strengths to utilizing local platforms in your region, which are really tailored for your participants. But again, that is an issue in virtual meetings that we are very excited about helping people. So Lucy, our next slide. So we wanted to share our criteria. So up and through 2019, IPNA had funds to basically fund any reasonable quality teaching course. But we recognize that as we continue to expand our interests, that we may not always have the funds to cover every possible quality course. So our committee did take a step back and look at what should IPNA prioritize, what are our goals? And we've really identified 5 criteria by which we view each application to look at how that application is prioritized. Again, up until 2019, we funded any really reasonable quality proposal, but we think this is going to be important going forward. And you can see the 5 key criteria. One is the economic development of the country. So IPNA would like to really prioritize teaching courses that serve healthcare professionals in underserved areas of the world, and we're utilizing the World Bank gross national income per capita as criteria. Audience size, the more healthcare professionals you're able to reach, the higher the priority. Audience type, we really are prioritizing educating and training practitioners and trainees in the field versus, say, students. So again, we have to decide what our priorities are, and that's what our committee and IPNA has approved as criteria. We also would like to favor new sites. We have had some organizers come back yearly, and we're happy to do that, but we really want to prioritize new options and new opportunities. And then lastly, if sites are able to demonstrate a way that they can make the materials of the presentation endure. So for example, posting PowerPoints and educational activities on a website that's available to attendees after the meeting, or even available to other people in the region, that would give you extra priority score. So let me stop. Lucy, could we go back to that slide? Because it's such a key point that, so I'd really like to open up to you all and help you, help us ensure that you all understand what these criteria represent. Are there any questions? And ask a question, please unmute your Zoom and speak up. Anyone have any questions about these criteria?
Dr. Mian?
No?
Yep, this is
Yes, Agnes. Yes.
We have been having teaching courses in Manila, but if we're going to do teaching course site, still in the Philippines, but in another place, that would be favorable. Is that so?
So Agnes, if I understand you were talking about the fact that you have done courses in the Philippines before?
Yes, in Manila, but there are several areas in the Philippines, because there are several islands in the Philippines. Yeah. So if you have it in another site, then that would be feasible.
So teaching course really is the course, and if there is a different region of the Philippines, then that would be considered a new teaching course. So what we've had is a few teaching courses where it's run in the same city several years in a row. So that would be considered not a new site. But if there is a different region in the Philippines that would come forward, that would be considered a new teaching course.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Mian.
Yeah, no, that's a really important question. Yes. So other questions about the criteria? Good. Well, Elena, apparently they're as clear as we had hoped.
This is Ken Lieberman. Hi, John.
Hi.
My question was more sort of site matching. with
Yeah.
me. And I'm not sure, this is a newer venture for me personally. And my question is, how do you guys work at coordinating what might be needed by a given site and skills of certain individuals who have teaching time available? And how do you work on sort of matching up need with talent?
Very good questions. Very good questions. So let me talk a little bit about some of the steps in the process, Ken, and for everyone. But in the application, we ask the organizers, the organizer is the pediatric nephrologist that is proposing to host this meeting, put on this meeting. We ask them, what are the needs and what's the needs assessment and what needs have you identified? We also ask them to identify potential IPNA speakers. So could I just ask folks to mute their Zooms if you're not asking a question or speaking? Okay, good, good. So back to that question. So when the proposal is completed online, the organizer is asked to identify potential IPNA speakers. Most of the organizers put some names down and have some ideas, but we are certainly, as a teaching course committee, happy to help work through that and provide assistance and try to match things up or identify potential speakers. So that's a second sort of part of it. And then lastly, if there is any need for assistance in organizing the course or any need for sort of a review of the layout of the course, we're happy to provide that too. Again, our experience has been most of the teaching course organizers already have a pretty good idea of the length of the course. They have needs identified and some idea about IPNA speakers, but we definitely have helped teaching course organizers in areas like identifying speakers from IPNA, in some cases reviewing the layout of the course, and then most recently for the few courses that propose going virtually, working with them about the virtual platform. So we have other members of our committee that are on the call. So Carolina Osha and Richard Baquero from Latin America, Chris Ezozibor from Africa, and Sudha from India are all online as well, or on the call as well. So other questions that folks have before we move to
I think Mignon is having a question.
Yes.
Hi guys, I think just a comment. I think COVID has really been a very terrible thing, but there have been some advantages in that, yes, we can't travel and see our colleagues anymore, but we can now do teaching courses across the world. And I thought Ken's comment was excellent in that you now as a committee can actually combine speakers from maybe less well-resourced countries as well as well-resourced countries. So really great to hear about all the genetics about, for example, nephrotic syndrome. I think that's what everybody aspires to. But if you don't have that, maybe just the basic treatment that you should be teaching people in terms of managing a septic, sick nephrotic, even with malaria or sepsis or MIS-C, related to COVID. So I think it's really fantastic that you guys have set up this platform virtually. And I really want to commend you and say it sounds very exciting to me. I think it's great.
Well, and Mignon, I think with a couple virtual teaching courses that were run in 2020, I believe it was 3, so not many. There are some definite advantages. We can have international high-level speakers at very little cost, because all I had to do was get on Zoom. We could really potentially do more of these kind of regional virtual meetings than we could ever afford to do if we were thinking about doing them, you know, in live with all the travel costs. I think again, as a committee, we know that we do not know the needs as well as the organizer. The organizer, you're in the region, you know what your people need. You know, we ask you to tell us that, but what we're very happy to help you with is reviewing kind of what your thoughts are with the course, how you're trying to meet those needs, and then again, helping you be able to put it on if you're doing it virtually, and then making sure that we get some high quality IPNA speakers. Any IPNA sponsored teaching course has to have at least 2 IPNA speakers from outside of the teaching course site. And that's both to add more high quality to any regional or local teaching course, but I think it's also part of our mission to really continue to appreciate the international aspects of what we're doing in terms of education and patient care. So Lucy, you can go to that next slide. There we go. So this was, I believe, in Venice, Lucy, that picture?
I think it's in Bhutan.
Oh, Bhutan, wonderful.
So we did a teaching course in Delhi, and then we left after that and flew to Bhutan and did a 1-week teaching course there, which was really great. And then we also happened to have a sick child during the course of that course who needed dialysis. So we did hands-on training, and we actually then also assisted in dialyzing a child in real life. So I think your point earlier was great, John, in that it's really great to have international speakers, but it's also really good to keep local relevance. So
yes,
that's what's really nice about having teaching courses now, is you can have 2 or 3 people for the cost of having flown, you know, far less than in the past. But this was a very exciting course in Bhutan. People traveled for 3 days to come to this course. So I felt very privileged to be part of it.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, and I think we all recognize the challenges of educating individuals around skills development and trying to do that virtually. There's some things, I'm sure, Mignon, in terms of some of the practical aspects of dialysis that you just have to do in person, and it's going to require hands-on kind of training. So I think we're all going to continue to learn. You know, there are nursing schools that do a lot of skills teaching virtually. I'm not quite sure how well they do it, but there are folks that are innovating in the area of virtual education. And as a teaching course committee, we are excited to kind of talk with anyone who's an organizer or thinking of organizing about how you might put on a virtual meeting. You know, one of the issues, of course, with any kind of virtual meeting is having a platform that you can really rely on, that's dependable, and having it tested. So on these couple courses that we funded in 2020, really our funds were helping provide the money to have a good platform, you know, to have the infrastructure to do it virtually in a reliable way. So I think that's a great opportunity for IPNA to invest our funds to help you put on a course and try something virtually if you think the individuals in your region will be receptive to a virtual teaching course.
This is Kim here. Can you hear me?
Hello, Kim. Yes, we're gonna leave your picture up.
Yeah. Well, we are planning to hold the IPNA ASPNA Master Junior class in early September, and it will be entirely a virtual course together with a dialysis workshop that is entirely virtual. So we intend to run it in stations with breakout rooms and do it virtually as well. So I will give you more information as we plan this virtual meeting. Yeah. And so
Yeah,
it's targeted primarily to the Southeast Asian and South Asian audience from the countries around Singapore, so to attend this course virtually in a sense.
Great. I think we all recognize the utility of being able to do more of our work virtually and even skills development virtually. And there are innovative ways to do it. And to some degree, I think we have to really just participate in those activities and be in that space and try. That's how we're going to learn the best way to do it.
So for the master class, we are intending to even have the MCQs online so that we can then track the answers and even mark it online so that people will get the feedback and the certificate at the end of the course. You see?
Yeah. And Kim, for that course, the participants will not have to travel to a site, right? They're going to be doing it from their home or hospital.
Yes, we are going to make it entirely virtual. So we don't see that the COVID situation will get too much better, that people can travel without a quarantine, you see. So I think that we need to keep it virtual at this point, you see.
And really, for all of you on the line that are thinking of doing any kind of a teaching course in 2021, we really, again, would be really excited to be able to hear from you, and between the members of our committee, start, have a meeting and talk to you about how this might work. We could share with you some of the limited experience we've had with helping teaching courses in under-resourced parts of the world already. And Lucy and her team have been really helpful to help sort of vet the local platform availability, or to look at what could IPNA provide in terms of the platform for virtual meeting.
Hey, may I talk, please? I have raised my hand just following Kim about the junior master classes.
Yes,
Do you
please,
hear me?
Razan.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, yes. Kim said that they're planning to have junior master classes in September, which is very good for Asian colleagues. And from the European point of view, actually, every year we didn't stop having our junior classes. And this September, there's going to be a hybrid meeting in Amsterdam for the ESPN. And I mean, maybe it's not hybrid, but it's going to be virtual junior classes again. This is going to be our 8th year in Europe. We didn't have any, disconnection about this, project. So, and last year we had a virtual ESPN IPNA junior master classes. It was very good. It's not like face-to-face, but it was draw a lot of attention. The only thing that we couldn't do the MCQ and the exam after the course, but this year maybe we can think exam as well. So, and for sure it's going to be another class in Europe for September, and I'm expecting news from Africa, from the English speaking part of Africa. It's going to be in Cairo. They were planning in March face-to-face, but of course now they have to change that as well. So, but I didn't hear lately from Africa. So, well, I'm sure they will be planning something for this year, maybe not in March, but in the other months. So, if I hear from them, I will let you know about it as well. So, yeah.
And Razan, I think you make a really good point that we have experience with virtual education in this space, and we have some ideas of ways that it works best. And we even have speakers, that have already done this at the junior master class that could then provide the same presentation at very little cost if it's virtually. So we really encourage you, if you're thinking about missing your teaching courses and recognizing the difficulty of doing live teaching courses in 2021, to think about trying to put on a virtual one with our help. in some ways, it's like we're running this experiment, right? You know, it's like the only thing we can do it, and we'll get a better idea of what works, what's well received by our audience, and what are sort of best practices as we evolve.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we are planning to do. Thank you.
John?
Yes, go ahead, Anna.
From Portugal, and I would like to ask you something. I have some experience with you, and also starting with Roseanne in junior classes with the ESPN. I'm from Portugal, and here we have some experience receiving some colleagues from African countries, Portuguese-speaking countries. And now we are thinking about planning a course, a teaching course, a virtual teaching course for these countries. Would that be adequate, feasible for asking the collaboration of IPNA? We're speaking about...
Anna, the checkbook is out. It's ready. We would love that. And I think, again, that's the kind of thinking that we need to all be embracing. Like, you know, to be able to put on a teaching course between Portugal and Portuguese countries in Africa would be fantastic. And we would love to help support that.
Okay, so it would be feasible to be in Portuguese. The idea would be to be in Portuguese. So we have doctors and nurses together to... And we could also ask you, Mignon, your collaboration, it would be, okay.
Yes, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, so I think once you identify a little different, right? Because when we have a physical live course, the organizer has to be responsible for the rooms and the, you know, hotels, and you know, there's a lot of practical things that you have. If you're talking about putting on a teaching course for Portuguese speaking countries in Africa, like who's the host? I think you still need a local or regional organizer, but the organization is very different, right? You're not worrying about food and hotels and AV. The organization is really being willing to help work out the platform, right? The virtual platform, which a lot of our members have not done that in the past. You know, we're all having to do it now, but again, that's where I think Lucy and her team can really be helpful as well.
Because we will need to have some contacts with these countries. We have some people that already came here for learning for very short fellowships, but then we need to go abroad and see who is interested.
So Anna, you need to find a willing accomplice.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
can I just add on to that? And as I've just looked up, there are only 6 out of the 53 countries in Africa that are Portuguese speaking, but I think it's a fabulous idea. And in the same way, I think we've often been challenged in having French teaching courses. So I think this is a great opportunity, and I'm thinking Spanish and Chinese, and the list just continues. So I think it is really important that we try and find those links and foster them. I just wanted to make a quick point just to add on what Kim was saying earlier. So as you know, IPNA also sponsors Saving Young Lives, which was part of the Bhutan project. And we've now, this year, we've actually videoed insertion of PD catheters, both on models as well as on real patients. So that's something we're going to be looking at as well. And so I know it's not the same as putting them in at the bedside, but at least it's some way towards actually doing a hands-on course. And so I really like Kim's masterclass, and I think we need to be developing hands-on videos and YouTubes and facilities like that. It really, the world is your oyster if you use your imagination. So I'm really excited about it. And I think the collaboration between different countries, seniors and juniors, very high resource countries and very low resource countries, I think everybody can benefit from it.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Yeah, and you know, we have had an experience with helping Sudha in India put on the Nephro Kids conference recently. So Sudha, I wonder if you could talk just a little bit about kind of the process as an organizer, and how easy it was, right? So that everyone should be encouraged.
Yeah. Hello, I'm audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you're on now.
Okay. So it was great that IPNA could help us out for the online teaching, virtual online teaching course. And this was a 4-day program, and we had made it 2 hours of the program. And though the virtual, as everybody said, we have speakers from all over the world, it was a little more challenging than the usual meetings, I would say. The first was like, we need to have a good internet connection. The speakers need to have a good internet connection. The audience also need to have a good internet connection. If that is going to be a challenge, then it's going to be difficult. And unfortunately, we did face a storm during our programs. So in the last minute, we did all as a pre-recorded session, and day 3 was a pre-recorded session, and it was quite taxing. So what I learned from this virtual meeting is, like, it is always better to have a pre-recorded session then always go live, because at times if the speaker's internet is not good, then the audience who's going to listen from the other end, they might have a little difficulty and they might lose interest. Already they're not seeing face to face, so the interest might be a little down, and keeping the audience seated for the talk is going to be challenging. So a pre-recorded sessions also would help us, and shorter sessions would definitely be useful. And the other thing which we did was, like, to ensure that the audience are going to listen to our sessions, we had a quiz program. We had a MCQ program, and this MCQs we did for all the 4 days, and at the end of 4th day we combined and the top 3 winners, we had given them prize money. So that was a little encouraging for the students there to participate and to listen to all the 4 days. And thanks to IPNA for sponsoring us with the money, because without that it would not have been possible, because the platform which is needed for this MCQ is entirely different from the platform which we were actually hosting. And we did the MCQ session based on the 2-hour session. At the end of each 2 hours, we had that session. So that was the other advantage, I would say, because we had around 600 plus audience on day 1. And then that did come down to around 300 plus audience on day 3 and 4. So the audience numbers were around 600 to 300 for all the 4 days. And I think the MCQs and the prize money did help us a lot. So that the audience are there listening to us for the 2 hours, because we don't even know whether the audience are listening to the speakers or what's happening at the other end. So that is a big challenge in the virtual meet. But otherwise, other than that, getting on speakers and meeting each other all over the world is definitely a fantastic one. But the disadvantages also we need to accept, and we have to, like, face the challenges.
Asuda, that's wonderful. Thank you for detailing that for the folks on the call. 300 to 600 attendees is, I would argue, larger than any live teaching course that we've supported. So, and I also would make the comment that when I've done a live teaching course, I don't know whether anyone in the audience is paying attention. So, you know, I think you always have to recognize that engagement is going to be varied live or online. And then again, I think beyond the lessons that you learned about having pre-recorded, because you never know when a monsoon is going to hit, I think the innovative piece with the MCQs and building that in, utilizing a separate multiple choice question interface, and then having prize money and making it a contest are some really neat activities that you've now been able to trial that. Great. Other questions or observations anyone would like to share?
John, it's Elena. I see that there is Carolina Osho who has a question, but just maybe to encourage you all, I see that we have a lot of people who are listening. We have 46 participants from, I think, all over the world, which is great. And I recognize a lot of people who have experience in organizing courses, but maybe some of you don't have experience and you are just curious to listen to this session and to see whether it is something for you. I only can think and say that if you think that there is a need in your region, then and you don't have experience, you just don't know how to start, but you think that there is a need, just please contact IPNA office and we will contact you. We will discuss very openly. So you don't have to have your application completely ready to submit with all things. We can help you in a very early stage of the organizing. And this is really our purpose to help. Another thing is, I think the point of Anna was very, very important. I think the advantage and importance of the IPNA courses is that it can be organized in the language of the country, because we know a lot of countries where not all doctors and of course not all nurses can speak English or another big language. So I think if you think that there is a country where the course is needed in a different language, we also can help with this. And also about the teaching sites, I think it's another opportunity which we have now with these virtual meetings. If you are in the country where never a teaching course took place, we can put you in contact with a country in the other place of the world, because we can do it now, and you can have a joint meeting like Portugal with an African country, or some Latin American countries with another. So all is possible. So just think about it and feel free to ask questions. And I think Carolina has a question, and I will shut up now.
Hi, everybody. This is Carolina from Colombia, South America. First of all, I would like to thank IPNA because we have received so much support the last years. On 2019, we had a IPNA teaching course on Quibdó, which is a very poor city in our country, and it was a total success. So for last year, we had a new teaching IPNA course program, and already authorized, but because of COVID-19, of course it was canceled. So what we are thinking for this year is to do something like to combine
Carolina, we lost you there. Carolina? No.
I'm sorry. Do you listen to me?
Now we can hear you again, Carolina.
I'm sorry. Did you listen to me?
So please, again, if you're not speaking, if you can mute your line so that we don't get that interruption.
Okay, so should I start again from the beginning?
Yes, now we can hear you now. Go ahead, Carolina.
Okay, so what I was telling you that we had on 2019 we had a teaching IPNA course in Quibdó, which was a total success. And we had programmed a new teaching course for last year, but because of COVID-19, we canceled. So what we are thinking for this year is to try to do something that combine virtual lectures with live lectures, because it allows the people that is out of town to be part of this teaching course, and we get like the experience of live lectures for people that lives here in the city. So we're still working on that. We haven't decided it all. We're still working with you guys to see which is the best option, but we'll see what happens then.
Yeah, I think, Carolina, the idea of having hybrid teaching course where it's some bit live, but there's a virtual piece that's running at the same time, or could be run with recorded sessions from the live afterwards. We're happy to walk through with any of you. We've had a few of our already awarded teaching course organizers who were not able to do a 2019 session contact us and say, can I repurpose the money to do a virtual or a hybrid course in 2021? And, you know, we want to hear a little bit about what you're thinking, but we're keen to do that. So if you've already been approved and you've had to postpone a teaching course in 2020, the process of converting that to a little bit different format is you don't have to go through a new application and a whole new process. We just want to hear a little bit about what you're planning, and in each case where we've been asked that, we've approved that. So please, all of you that have done teaching courses and have had things funded for 2020 and want to talk to us about a different version in 2021, let us know. And then I wanted to reinforce what Elena had said. You know, we're happy to walk through the process. If you're thinking about a teaching course or you've got a little bit of an idea, we're happy to have one of our committee members meet with you and walk through that course, sort of design and development. You know, in the past, that was not a big function of our teaching course committee because, you know, there were live courses and everyone sort of had an idea. But in this virtual world, we recognize that things are very different and people's experiences are more varied. So please let us know. Any other questions or points that deserve for more clarification? If you're interested in asking a question, you could put something in the chat box.
John, if I can just comment once more. Sorry,
Please.
it's Mignon again, and I'm really not trying to hog the audience. I just wanted to say, I think if someone is feeling nervous or they've never ever done a course before, I think, guys, as John has said, just reach out to the committee. The guys are there to help you plan. So even if you've got a small little idea in your head, I think it's definitely worth reaching out and getting the committee to actually help you grow it. So this is different to the real face-to-face where you actually had to organize so much. I think this is much easier. So if you've got a couple of topics, even if you don't have a speaker, the committee is really experienced and they can really help you with that. So I would really just say, go for it. Don't be shy. You can't really mess this one up. The guys are there to help you. And even if you don't know of speakers, but you've got some topics that you want to chat about, I think just put your hands up and contact either Lucy or the committee through the website. Okay, thanks everybody. I've got to go.
Thank you, Mignon, for really clearly expressing our interest in helping you develop something.
John, may I ask a small question, please?
Please.
Yes. Thank you for this, wonderful Zoom meeting, really. Could I ask you, did we pointed a certain budget for this, teaching courses or junior classes? Because if it is face-to-face, we knew how much we were, getting from IPNA, but now it's all virtual. And last year, actually, we didn't ask anything from IPNA, but of course, it's costing a lot of money. So, is there a certain budget for it, or it is an individually we are applying for it? Can I learn that, please?
Yeah. No, good question, Razan. So what we've learned from the 3 virtual teaching courses that we supported in 2020 is that it's cheaper. It costs less to put on a virtual course than live. So right now, we still have the maximum amounts of $7,000 per course. But what we found is that it doesn't require that much money to put on a virtual teaching course. I think what we've seen is typically the costs are more in the range of $1,500 to $2,000. So it's a more reasonable funding amount. So yeah, I think we're utilizing the same caps right now, but we're recognizing that folks are going to need less money to put on a virtual teaching course.
That's obviously right, yeah. But 1,500 to 2,000, maybe it could be a little, low budget. But of course, it can be, talk later. But at least there's something that we can rely on because some PCOs asking like 4,000 euros for the junior classes or something like that. It is too high. I mean, it won't be that much. But $2,000, maybe it is little low, but it can be, talk later. But at least we know that there could be some budget for junior classes. Thank you.
Yeah, and Razan, just like cost of putting a meeting on are different based on the venue, the hotel, all of that, we recognize that platforms may cost a little different in different parts of the world. And also if there's a MCQ portion, that may be an additional cost for that platform. So we recognize, but at this point, the caps that we've had in the past seem to be plenty of funds to put on an effective virtual meeting.
Yes. Okay.
That's not been a limitation. Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes. Well, we're getting towards the end of our hour. A good question that came up was, what's the difference between the junior master classes and the teaching courses? So the junior master classes are based on a curriculum that has been developed over the last 8 years that's evolved, but is fairly standardized. And the audience for the junior master classes are really trainees and junior faculty, so folks that have graduated from their training and are in practice for a short period of time. And the intention of the junior master class is for an individual to complete junior master classes over several years, and in that way to have really marched through most of the topics that are relevant to a pediatric nephrologist. So think of it as a more formal sort of course in pediatric nephrology put on by experts in the field. The teaching course is really driven by local needs, involves local speakers as well as IPNA speakers, and is incredibly varied. So we have had teaching courses that have been 1 day. We've had teaching courses that have been 4 days. We've had teaching courses with more than 5 international speakers and some with only 2 speakers international and many more local speakers. We've had teaching courses on a very local or needed topic, like maybe a teaching course that's devoted to outpatient nephrology, or a teaching course that's related to glomerular diseases. So they don't have to be, and they're not necessarily comprehensive. But again, teaching courses are based on the needs that the local organizers can identify. And the local organizers know best what dose is appropriate. Is a 1-day course, a 3-day course, a 4-day course? And Sudha's example from India was taking content and spreading it out over 4 days, 2 hours a day, was thought to be more effective than having 1 8-hour Zoom day. And she and and her organizers had good participation with that model. So teaching courses are very much local, very variable, and really based on the needs in the region versus the junior master classes, which are really much more of a comprehensive curriculum delivered over time. I hope that helps.
John, there is a chat from Myelin Miller from Jamaica. So maybe you can comment. So they had the real teaching course, which will be replaced by the virtual, which is wonderful, I think, and with an attempt to reach many people in Caribbean, and whether IPNA will be able to help. Yes, Myelin, of course, we just told we are happy to help, and we are happy to discuss what are your needs and how we can help. So maybe please be in contact maybe with Lucy, and she will look with you what are the exact questions, and we can discuss it in the commission, and we will be in touch with you.
Our Zoom opportunities and capabilities now, I think we can provide help much better than we could have in the past. You know, in the past, help would have been through emails and maybe a conference call, but now we can actually set up a Zoom session with you as a potential organizer or as someone who knows they want to do it but would like to get some consultation. And we can, by sharing screen, be able to look at documents and lay out plans together. So I think in this virtual world, we can actually help individuals that are thinking about organizing something or wanting to talk about how to convert a live to a virtual much better than we could have done in the past. So I would be remiss if I didn't remind all of us to please renew your 2021 membership, because a large part of the funds that helps us be able to put aside $160,000 US or more each year for teaching courses really comes from all of you as members. And as we have thousands of members, there's so much we can accomplish. So please think about that. I love your point, Agnes. Put on your creative hat, put on your I want to try something different hat, and our committee will be excited about working with you. Any final questions or issues anyone wants to ask about? Well, we're at the end of our hour, so thank you everybody for participating. This was great to see so many of you, and neat to hear some of the questions, and hopefully we've stimulated more of you to think about putting on a virtual course if that's really what your reality is for 2021. And we'd love to get up to that 31 courses per year again, even if most of them are virtual this year. So please let us know, and thank you for participating. Elena, any final comment?
No, I just want to thank everybody and just saying good luck with organizing courses, and we are happy to help. So we keep in touch with you and just be in contact. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Lucy, for putting this Zoom on and being behind all of our successes. Thank you so much, Lucy.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.